Guys, breaking news in Formula One. I'm sure you've all heard about it already, but from the Chinese Grand Prix, Lewis Hamilton, Gasly, and Charles Leclerc disqualified.
Walsh running the Irish green, and look at the move he's making down to the inside.
Moves to the front from fifth all the way to the lead in lap one.
Walsh takes win number 2.
Peter Walsh. From the Grand Prix. Yeah, disqualified. Now, it happens, and we're going to get into it. And, you know, you can have some people here that, oh, this is crazy. And quite honestly, I don't blame you, because we're not even talking the width of a credit card that they got disqualified for. Okay? They even showed it on Sky Sports the other day. In fairness, and that was a good breakdown. I gotta hand it to you. Let me show you. I'm taking out of my wallet as we speak a credit card. Here we go. If you're watching the screen, that is the width. And to even blow your mind even more, it's half the width of that. Get your head around that. Now, okay, some people will say, well, come on, really? And then some people will go, well, look, you know, it's that's the way it is. And ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to agree with the latter. It is the way it is. You have to draw a line with rules and regulations somewhere, right? You can't just come along and say, all right, well, look, come on. It was only a quarter of a mil, a tenth of a mil, a half a mil. Let him off. Like, I know. And I've even been in this situation before where I got disqualified for a race, and it was the right height of the car. And basically kind of the same thing here, okay? The right height is the distance from the ground to the underneath of the car. And this is what we're talking about. I was the same. We had a problem here where we were at a very, very bumpy track, and I was riding the curbs, because there's a lot of racing tracks where you do ride the curbs. And we just did, quite simply, underestimate the amount of wear and tear and damage, and we just messed up. Now, we did not, under any circumstances, try and cheat and be dodgy. We were going as close to the limit, believe you me, as much as possible. It was our first time at this track. We just underestimated how much wear and tear. And we fell asleep at the wheel. But that's the thing. It can happen to every team out there. And look, here you go. It even happened to 2 Formula One teams in one weekend. Now, you think with all the technology and this and that and blah, right? Yeah, you know, the higher up you go, there should be less of these, because you'll have so much technology invested in the car and implanted on the car that you'll pick up on these things. But look, even the big tech Formula One giants, even they mess up. And believe me, I'm no Hamilton fan. Leclerc I like, yeah, Gasly I like, but I'm even batting for Hamilton here on this one. The team made a mistake. Now, they have been known to push the envelope from time to time, and Ferrari have in many ways over the years, they've done a lot of very dodgy things. Put it this way, way worse than what we've seen here. And I'm being very, very serious, right? Just because a team that have really pushed the envelope, it doesn't mean that they were trying it this time. They were going as close to the limit as they can. Sure, absolutely no question. But this type of check is a very simple check. I mean, imagine you going to the doctor, okay? He takes your pulse, right? It would be like you trying to cheat a heartbeat pulse test, or whatever they call it, okay? Right? A blood pressure test, okay? And, you know, trying to hide your heart underneath your jacket. And if you wear a big padded jacket, well, maybe he won't notice. No. You still have to roll up your sleeve, let him to do this or do that or whatever. Nothing changes. So Ferrari know this. They can't hide. This is one of those obvious ones. Now, you could have something in the engine, right, that's buried very deep, and maybe, just maybe, the FIA regulators, they don't go checking every single engine every weekend for every goddamn detail. Maybe. We don't know all the ins and outs and how far they go, because they wouldn't want the Formula One teams knowing either. Now, maybe you could have a Formula One team trying and chancing their arm on that one. But the right height and what they have, it just, no, man. It's such a simple test that you would have you'd be on drugs to say, well, we might get away with this one. You never know. You never know. So anyway, lads, no, it's just not happening. It's not happening. Now, what does this do for the team? It's not going to affect the team. It's not going to phase the team mentally. It's just they're going to be pissed off, of course. Frustrated, yeah, of course. But they'll still have their focus. They'll still have their drive, determination. And they'll just roll on to the next. And what will they do? What will the solution be for the next time? Well, they're just going to have to make sure if they're putting it at a certain millimeter, they're going to have to raise it by another mil, maybe even 2, just to play it safe because they don't want to have this scenario the next time. So they're going to be careful. Or they're going to put a safety factor in where they'll do some tests and they might put a sensor in on the bottom of the car. So once they get to a certain point, they know that this is the amount of wear and tear that they're doing. And then they'll build on that data and they'll go, right, okay, lads. So listen, every track we go to here, we're having this problem. We got to make sure we don't have this problem again. So they'll put on sensors. They'll measure the amount of wear and tear in one Grand Prix. They'll have it for the rest of the Grand Prix. You can bet your bottom dollar that. And then they'll go from there. They'll pick up the data and say, right, okay, just bring it up 2 mil, lads, for this race. Then for the next 2 or 3 races, they'll gather the data, and they'll go, we're only wear and tear by 1 mil. Then they'll go, okay, fine, let's put it down to 1.5 mil. So then the lower the car is down to the ground, technically, the quicker the car will go, and the better the car will be. So they will be judging and yes, testing the boundaries. And they're every goddamn given right. Every Formula One team, I'll put it this way, if they're not testing the boundaries, there's something very wrong. Now, I'm not saying go over the line. I am not saying that. But you go as close to that bloody line as you can. Like every sport in the world. Every sport. Don't go over the line. Get as close to that line as goddamn possible. So it's unfortunate, especially for all the Ferrari fans. Okay, they didn't have a great race anyway. And look, it's just the way it is. And the nice thing about it, at least there's a little bit of a comfort. It's still early on in the year. It's only round 2. There's a long way to go. And if you're going to have these problems, lads, it's better to have them in the first few rounds. A stitch in time saves 9, so to speak. So, anyway, hopefully Ferrari will get that sorted soon. Okay, so let's move on to more news, lads. Okay, let's talk about Liam Lawson and Red Bull. The guy, and I'm not even a fan of this guy, but I'm going to stand up for this poor fella here. Okay, he's had 2 disastrous races. Now, what does he do? Jesus. I mean, the press are all over him already. They're already all over Christian Horner. So, Christian, are you going to hold on to him? And, time is running out. Well, hold on a sec. Whoa. I love this. Has anyone noticed that the press are saying that time is running out? When have they become the CEO of Red Bull? No, I'm serious. When have they become the CEO, managing directors, or the junior scholarship director? When have they become the boss? And time is running out. Really? This bad already? What they're doing is they're just trying to put on some pressure and cause some drama and entertainment. And actually, they're hoping that they'll cause such a explosion in the press that it'll put pressure on Lawson and Christian Horner. I cannot believe the mentality. Even Christian Horner got interviewed in China and they were asking him the question, and it was an uncomfortable question, and he just sort of brushed it off. He just brushed it off. Check it out, guys. Now, we don't have any sort of video replay. We're just shooting straight from the hip today here, okay? Raw, hardcore talk about Formula 1 and motor racing. Straight today. No fancy gadgets, videos, nothing today. Check it out yourselves, though, if you want. This is nuts, lads. This is nuts. Just maybe, the guy had 2 nightmare Grand Prix. Like, we've all been there. You know the way, guys, that you could, all of a sudden, your car breaks down and all of a sudden then you're getting the bus home, but the bus breaks down. You know, like, things can come in, they say, touch wood for all of us. People say that things come in threes. No, not, maybe not for everybody. I don't know. Touch wood, for, again, like for all of us. Very superstitious, the racing driver thing, I'm telling you, man. But the thing is, lads, he could have just had some bad luck here in the first 2. Now, he ain't getting the attention that Max Verstappen's getting. Christian Horner and Red Bull even said that at China, that they've built the car around Max Verstappen. That's a very, very fancy way of saying we're putting all our attention into our golden boy. A very fancy way of saying that. Now, I don't have any problem with it. I don't. I've been saying this for the last 3 years, man. But there's a lot of people saying, oh, Max, he's so amazing. Every teammate that comes in against him, they've no chance. He's so good. Lads, please, he is a brilliant driver. But there's a lot of politics behind this too, lads. There really is. I'm here to give you the raw, hardcore truth of motor racing. It's been, 20 years since I've sat in a car? If there was any bitterness or any jealousy in me, that's gone a long time ago. And in fact, I even enjoy talking about motor racing. I love it because it's what I know deep down. And I like to give people the truth. And I have to say now, this does annoy me, right? When team owners, because lads, I'll tell you, there's not much difference between these days and back in my days. It's the same old rinky-dink crap. People talk unbelievable garbage in the pit lane. Serious politics going on. You can be bought and sold within 4 milliseconds. It's amazing. There's a lot of cowboys in motor racing. And that's why I'm always recommending Drive to Survive, that why you need to watch it. It is that good. And the bitching, drama, gossip and moaning, with team owners especially, that's real. They are not playing up for the camera. I'm telling you now. They are not playing up for the camera. And that's why you need to watch Drive to Survive. Anyway, so guys, what I would say here, what the fair thing to do here would be for Liam Lawson and Red Bull. Give him 10 races. Now, if they know, and they do know, if they know that they're not giving Liam Lawson the best equipment and the best car, well, then they got to give him some slack. And think about it this way. I've said this a lot of times. If you remember, if you have seen Drive to Survive, if you remember, lads, if memory serves me correctly, I think it is, guys, 1 second, apologies. I think it's season 2, where we had Pierre Gasly come into Red Bull team, and he was going to be Max Verstappen's teammate. So Pierre Gasly signs up for 10 races. Now, Pierre Gasly, all of a sudden, he's going terrible. Nightmare. He had a couple of crashes. Some of it was his fault. 100%. But not everything went badly for him. In fact, I remember there was one race. I can't remember the exact race. I think it was Brazil, maybe. But there was one race where he was in 4th. Verstappen was in 3rd. And people were bitching and moaning about him that he's not doing well enough. Now, this is the time when Verstappen was not dominating. Verstappen was not winning all the time. That season we're talking about was when Hamilton was kicking ass in the Mercedes. Pure domination. Verstappen was winning a couple of races here and there. And then Gasly finishes right behind him in one race, and they're still not happy enough with him. Still not happy. And they were putting this bus boy under a lot of pressure. Now, okay, they literally get rid of him after 10 races, Fine. That means, so what does that tell you? Okay, Christian Horner, he is not impressed. He's not happy. He's probably pissed off that Pierre Gasly is not performing. Okay. He gets rid of him. Done. Then you bring in Sergio Perez for 2 years. Sergio Perez, for the 2 years running, had about 4 or 5 good races at the start of each season, and then he went to crap. He went nowhere. Now let's go back to Perez's first year in Formula One. Red Bull. 4 or 5 races, even won a race. 4 or 5 races with a win. Then he's nowhere. I mean, the guy's down in 15th, 16th, 17th for the rest of the season. And again, remember, guys, there's like 23 races at that stage. So, 5 races down and all of a sudden it goes to crap for the remaining, 18 rounds. That's a lot of rounds to have bad luck or just perform terribly. Okay? Then all of a sudden, now you're putting him into Pierre Gasly's position, right? Okay? The both of them are as bad as each other now. Now, you could say, well, look, Sergio, he did win a race. Okay, so you give him maybe a little more slack. So therefore, okay, the fact that he won one race at the start of the year, let's give him 13, 14 races so instead of Pierre Gasly's, let's give him 10 races. You know what I mean? You give him a little bit more slack. But the fact that, in fact, to be honest, if anything, it's actually worse for Sergio Perez because he actually won in the car. You know what I mean? So in other words, he wins in the Red Bull in the first 5 races. Ah, right, he's got it. Done. Click. Let's do this. So now he's really proved he can do the job. And then he goes to crap for the rest of the 18 races? Now that's a bigger problem than Pierre Gasly's problem. A lot bigger problem. And guess what happens at the end of Perez's first year in the car? What do? They sign him up for the year 2. Now, you tell me, lads, why in God's name would they sign that guy up for year 2, having 18 crappy races, when a couple of years back they got rid of Pierre Gasly after 10? It shows that Red Bull can be ruthless. If they want a driver gone, good, you are gone. Good luck. Bye-bye. But why did they keep Perez for another year? Make you think, wouldn't it? Maybe there was sponsorship money behind the whole thing. Maybe there was an investor coming along and investing in the Red Bull team. Because I know racing. If you bring money to the table, lads, that goes a hell of a long way. A hell of a long way. Anyway, let's move on to the next. So, just before we pack it up for the day, Toto Wolff, very excited for Mercedes. And, guys, I gotta say, I like Toto Wolff. I didn't really like him, I have to admit, for a while, but I think defeat has humbled the man to a degree. I think he's a very, very clever businessman, and he's excited here, and he thinks they're the second fastest team in China. Now, Russell, okay, he had a good one and they were delighted with their pace, even though he qualified second and he finished third. Hang on, let me just double check that. Sorry, 1 second, lads. Yeah, he finished third, right? So, guys, what would you say? I mean, he had a third in Australia, another third here. He's doing all right. He's doing okay. And, hang on, let me just double check this, lads. I want to check that Chinese Grand Prix here now result. This thing in my head. Yeah, that's right. So he's had 2/3. This car's not very far away. I was thinking, I'll be honest, that Ferrari, even Red Bull, would have more of an advantage than Mercedes. Now, time will tell, lads. the real test for any Formula One car is they need to go to a slow track, a medium speed track, and a high speed track. Now, it's fair to say Australia would be a medium speed track. There's a couple of quicker speed track corners there, but I think we've ticked the box there. Done. We've gone to a medium speed track. China, it's sort of medium to high speed, but I still wouldn't. I would be waiting for Belgium or Silverstone for that one. But it gives you a very, very good indication. Very, very good indication of where your car is at high speed. Then they need to go to somewhere like slower, like Monaco or somewhere like this, right? So until you get to all three, then you've really ticked the box. You're getting your confirmation on the deal. Tick, 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 off you go. And you've got a really, really good car. Now, at the moment, I would say that George Russell, Mercedes, have a very, very good car in medium speed corners. Not as quick as McLaren, but let's see. Time will tell. And what I love about this year, lads, is that I have to admit, even though McLaren do seem to have the edge, there's something about... I don't know what this is, lads. There's something about Ferrari. Maybe it's something that I'm drinking here, lads. Something that I'm eating. I don't know. Maybe there's something in the water here. There's something about Ferrari that's telling me that they could pull this out of their ass. And maybe I'm talking out of my ass on this one. Maybe I am. But what does it tell you, lads? Drop a comment. Drop a comment. Let me know what you think. Who's your money on for this year? Is it too early to tell? Are we jumping ahead of ourselves a little bit? Are we getting a little bit excited? And we've got to say, okay, China was a little bit of a boring race, even though I did really love China because like I said at the start of my reaction there a few days ago, that it's like the teams pulled down their pants and showed how big and small they are. Now, of course, you can't say that for all the medium, high speed and low speed tracks, but it's given us a good indication. It's given us a very, very good idea. So, who's your money on? Talk to you later, lads.
Walsh running the Irish crane, and look at the move. He's making down to the inside.
Moves to the front from fifth all the way to the lead in lap one.
Walsh takes win number 2.
Peter Walsh.